Now that's the sound of joy. President-elect Trump ringing the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange with Melania and his daughters by his side. It was in celebration of Time magazine naming him Person of the Year. The cover story hailing Trump's historic comeback, calling it unparalleled in American history. Earlier, Trump gave a rousing speech that outlined his bold economic agenda.
We're going to give tremendous incentive like no other country has. We're cutting your taxes. We're going to cut them very substantially. We got them down to 21% from probably 42 or 44%. Now we're getting them down to 15, but only if you make your product here. For those that are running the big companies, those great, big, beautiful companies, nobody's going to be leaving us. You're going to be coming back. You're going to be bringing it back to the United States.
And Trump's goodwill doesn't end there. The latest Fox News poll shows 54% of voters are feeling hopeful post-election. And America's big business leaders are falling in line. Trump says he's meeting with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos next week. And Mark Zuckerberg's Meta has donated $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund. Okay, I want to start with you today, Harold. I'm just curious. I mean, you're a Wall Street kind of guy. And I'm curious as to what your Wall Street friends think about President Trump. He's talking about bringing back big, beautiful businesses and, the pro-entrepreneur, when the Biden administration was all about corporate greed and they're not paying their fair share and price gouging. Kind of a different approach to business, don't you think?
It is. This was a good day. Good to see you today, and good to see Tyrus here. It is my favorite fight song is the University of Michigan, where I went to school. I went to law school, and we start our fight song off saying "Hail to the victors." And President Trump deserves this what he's getting right here at the New York Stock Exchange, the Time Man of the Year, Person of the Year award. You know, it's going to be interesting as he begins to embark on this ambitious agenda that he campaigned on. A lot of what he said, I found myself agreeing with. Some of the things he said I didn't agree with, but I'm rooting for him in a huge way. I think about two things I saw this morning, one on our network and one on another network, about two bipartisan pieces of legislation. One between Elizabeth Warren and Josh Hawley out of Missouri. They want to make it where pharmaceutical companies or pharmacy companies cannot be also own an insurance company and can't own a pharmacy benefit manager. And another by Richard Blumenthal and Marsha Blackburn from my home state of Tennessee, the Online Safety Act, the Kids Online Safety Act. I hope President Trump is able to marshal a lot of that incredible momentum that he has right now, Judge, to help pass some of these things. And as someone who is invested in the stock market, I want to see the stock market keep going up. I want to see people's wages keep going up. And I want to see that, for that matter, the interest rates come down like every other American. And we'll see if the president can deliver on that. And I'm one Democrat rooting for him.
You know, Tyrus, so much has happened between 2020 and 2024. I mean, here you've got the only president in history to be on the cover of Time magazine twice.
Well, 3 times if you count the time he put himself on that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So the question that I have is, no one could have predicted this would have happened. Is America different, or is Donald Trump different?
No, I think what it is the progressive left, with the exception of Democrats like Harold, went so far away from America that they gave an opportunity for President Trump. I think him not winning that election gave him an opportunity to really sit back and look at what America is. Whether he argued or liked it, but he got a chance. And Americans know what it's like to feel slighted, to come up short. They also saw a lot of their personal lives, to go through hardships, to know what rock bottom is. The fact that the way the mainstream media continually to go after him and attack him, that resonated with Americans. And there's nothing more from every one of your favorite movies as a kid. It was that you always want to see the comeback. And this was a comeback that wasn't just for President Trump. Every American felt it, and he did something to where he brought in anyone who wanted to be a part of it, whether they were friend, foe, enemies. We could not lose Harold on this show, but I guarantee you, if Harold wanted a job, he would find some place for him, because he just wants to win. And he made winning a fun thing again. And at the same time, the other side steadfast on shaming and blaming everyone else. And Americans just want results. They want hope, and they also want things they can believe in. And he gave everybody that.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's going to fulfill Joe Biden's promise of unity. But Jesse, you know, when you think about history, there are so many iconic photos of Donald Trump. I mean, you know, everything from the mugshot and on and on. What photo in a history book do you think will be the most iconic?
Mugshot to Man of the Year. I think Fight's got to go up there, number one, and by a mile. And I was actually, not to make it about me, I was actually photographed by the same photographer that took that photo. Just thought I'd mention that. Takes a nice photo. Winning the Fox Nation Patriot of the Year award, I didn't think you could beat it. And then he goes out and rings the bell at the New York Stock Exchange to open it. There are a few iconic things you do in this country: ringing the bell, throwing out the first pitch at a Yankee game, maybe lighting the Fox News Christmas tree. These are big moments, and it's such a special time for this president. I interned at the Stock Exchange for 4 years in the late 90s. I wore a suit and tie, went into the office every day on the train. Market was up every single day. And I got paid $500 a week. And then on Saturday, it was gone.
I was going to say you blew it, yeah.
And I should have invested it because that tear was great. And I was looking at the last tear that we're on right now, from 2016 to now. This is the hottest stock market we've ever had, the Trump-Biden years. If you invested in 2016, it is a 235% return. Now, I had a meeting with my financial team today, and let's just say,
Your team.
let's just say,
There's
I want
so
everybody
much there.
watching, I'd like to recommend 5 stocks.
Hold on,
Now,
where's
I've
my
been
pen?
told not to give investment advice on the air, but these are sure things.
Okay.
They're telling me not to do that. All right, I'm not going to do that. But it's such a hot market, and you're not going to invest anywhere else in this country, in the world besides the United States. You're not investing in China. You're not investing in Europe. Tax, regulation, rate cuts. It looks like we're teed up for another very, very strong couple of years.
Dana, it looks like, given the people involved, you've got Elon Musk and you've got Zuckerberg giving $1 million, and you've got Bezos coming to Mar-a-Lago next week, and David Sachs, who is used to be with Peter Thiel, and he's the crypto czar. It looks like the AI crypto czar. It looks like Donald Trump is really going full throttle on AI in this administration. Although there's not a lot of talk about it, but he's got all of the raw materials.
Right. That's a great point that it's not being talked about. I mean, I think about it a lot, and it's kind of like in our world, but I don't really understand it. But even as we talk about drones and stuff, we all know that we're behind on technology. And so how thankful we should be that there's this huge turnaround, that now you have people wanting to work for the government and to help the government. Because if you remember, just 5 or 6 years ago when Trump was in office the first time, Google had engineers who said they would not work on DeepMind, it was called, for the Pentagon, because they didn't want to work and help the United States of America because the country wasn't good enough for them. That's completely changed. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. The other thing is thinking about money and capital. If you think about a bank account in Washington, D.C. at the White House or in the Capitol, and how much you have of political capital to spend. And President Trump goes to Washington with a huge amount of capital and the ability to write checks that he can cash. And even today, in the Time magazine interview, he said, I will veto spending bills that don't do what Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to come up with. And now I don't know if he's going to be able to do that all the time because the House is a very small margin. None of these things are going to be as easy as it sounds like right here talking about it in December. But he's got a huge amount of capital, and he's willing to spend it. And if he spends it wisely, he can get a lot done immediately, probably within that first 100 days.
Yep. I think
At least get things underway. Yeah.
Yep.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.